Good afternoon.
Hi. So today we are here to answer some of your burning questions that you've been waiting to hear.
Burning.
Hopefully they're not too burning because most of them were asked in like April. So if they were burning questions, you're like blowing apart now.
Don't even remember what you asked, did you?
So question number 1 today is, how, as parents to children with autism, do we find the best care for our children? So, doctors, therapy, schools, and things like that. Want me to take this one
Sure,
first?
yeah.
So, this one's hard because there's a lot available out there. There is a lot of doctors, a lot of different therapies, a lot of schools even. And for me, I think it's more of a trial and error type thing for finding. Plus, I think it's different for each child. So, what's right for Jameson isn't always what works for Jaden. With therapies, it's hard because Jameson has about 17 that he qualifies for right now. But if he did all of those, he'd be doing therapy like 80 hours a week, and that's not going to happen. Not at all. We can barely handle about the 20 to 30 hours of therapy he does a week. So it comes down to solely the kind of picking and choosing. Like I said, trial and error. We'll just start something. We'll start a different kind of therapy, and we just have to see if it works for him, if it's helping him. Sometimes it can be the same kind of therapy, but we just have to meet and get to know the individual therapist, or that's the same with doctors, just getting to know them and see what really works and helps him or any child. Same with Jaden or any of the other children with special needs. You just have to find what works and then pick out of those what's best.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's kind of hard. You really do have to prioritize, unfortunately. Like Amy said, the 17 therapies, obviously we're not doing all of them, so we basically have to say, well, we can do these 3 or 4, start with that, and sometimes we actually have to put off stuff, which, of course, sounds awful, but we do. You also have to find the right person that Jameson will, I won't say tolerate, but can work with.
Tolerate.
Yeah, tolerate's a good one. It's one of those things where they may be one of the best in their field, which would be awesome, but if Jameson or Jaden can't deal with them one-on-one, then, we find some other way to do it. So it's like what you would expect for any parent. It depends on the situation, it depends on the child, it depends on the therapy. It just depends on a lot of things, and, we're hoping we're doing the best for our kids. We're going to find out.
I think this comes down a lot as a parent too, to knowing your children and knowing your family and what you can do, because everyone's always going to question, am I really doing the best? Are we doing all we can do? And as James says, we're not always doing all we could do, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing the best for what's needed, the best to help our family get where we need to go. And you just have to trust that, because you're going to get questioned not only from yourself but from others. Is what you're doing the best? So just know your children, watch your children, and go from there.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
That was question 1.
That was question 1. So question 2 is, how do you find acceptance from people close to you, like close family or friends, when your children get diagnosed with autism? This is also a hard question. I'd say we're pretty lucky and we're surrounded by a lot of acceptance. I think everyone around us accepts, quote unquote, that our children have autism. But I'd say it really comes down to understanding and not acceptance. Yes, everyone wants their children to be accepted, but for me, I've learned I want them to be understood even more, because how they're treated is more based on how well they're understood than even just being accepted. I know I've talked to a lot of people in similar situations as us, and I know they feel really similar. There's a lot of people that struggle with family, or, as I said, like really close friends that only see their children for once a month or even less than that sometimes, and they'll base everything they know on the child. Ignore Jaden in the background. But they base their knowledge is based on that one short time that they see the child, and so they think they know all the behavior or anxieties, the struggles that the child's facing just from those short periods that they see them, and that's just really not true. Most people don't see what it's like at home. They don't see the children at their worst or the things that are the hardest. And so for me, having people understand that those things happen whether they see it or not is more important than finding acceptance.
Yeah, it's been the same for me. I think our family and friends have been extremely accepting of this situation. I have to admit, I don't fully understand sometimes what's happening with our kids, so I get that they possibly wouldn't understand either, and that's fine. It's just, how do you get past that barrier? Obviously, we're doing this to try and help that understanding. Hey, dude. Hi. And it's one of those things. Like Amy said, being able to see these kids in a different environment, around different people, not around us, all those factors come into play with their behavior. And coming home after some of those things, it's like, oh boy, here we go. I'm going to freak out, and I know they're going to freak out too. They're going to freak out more than me. So it's hard to get that understanding through. Maybe this will help. Oh man, what'd you lose? There we go. Yeah. Yeah. That was question 2?
That was question number 2.
That was question number 2.
Okay, so question number 3 is, what are our thoughts on genetic testing?
Oh yeah, this is a good one. We would love to do genetic testing. The thing that I kind of worry about is, he took our questions.
Yeah, if I just lost our questions.
I hope we remember question 4. So we're open to genetic testing and figuring out all that stuff. Obviously, that would help us understand a little bit more specifics of what we might be able to do. But the concern that we have is, then what? Okay, so now we know specifically what they have. What are we going to do about it? And what we've heard from multiple doctors is that, well, the treatment wouldn't change in any way. We've got it specific enough right now without the genetic testing that their therapies and their treatment wouldn't really change for them much at all. Hopefully we would get some benefit out of it, of being able to specifically say, oh, it's this particular genetic abnormality or something like that. But after that, there's no practical change in our behavior of what we would do. So that's kind of where we're saying, I think we're okay holding off. Yeah,
my goal is to someday get genetic testing done, especially on Jameson, if not both of them. With Jameson, I feel that there is probably more that we could learn about him and where some of his problems are stemming from. But I remember probably a couple of years ago, in the middle of a lot of Jameson stuff, my pediatrician saying to me, it's not going to change anything. The genetic testing is another appointment, a lot more money, and it's not going to change anything that we're doing to help you right now. And I do know that that's true, because our kids are getting plenty of care. We know, even if we don't know where it's coming from, we know what the issues are, and so we're able to treat and help them and do what we need to. But the main reason I would want to do it is because if you find out that name, the certain abnormality, hard word, if you find those things out, the more people know where it comes from, then they're able to put more research into it, just get more education, more awareness, all those kind of things. So I would do it solely based on that at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say my work actually started a pilot for genetic testing that they're sending out to the public for free. I signed up for it. Jaden needs attention. And I signed up for it. I'm adopted, so I don't have much of a medical history. I'm totally for that. I would love to figure out what's going on with me.
Isn't that true for all of us?
Right? Yeah, everyone wants to know what's up with me. So, yeah, I would love to do genetic testing for myself. Too bad that pilot group isn't for children. It's only for adults, so that was kind of lame. Otherwise, I'd love to do it for free. What was the last question?
Question 4. This is a fun one. So question number 4 was asked, how do we always stay so calm? But I'm just going to adjust the question just a little to fit a little better. To how do we always appear to stay so calm in the midst of the chaos that surrounds us? Would you like to go first?
So the way that Amy phrased that should give you a hint as to no, we don't always freak out. No, we don't. Oh my gosh. So it's a good thing that we can come home and just freak out. I personally freak out after stressful times out in public where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ball this up. We're going to be nice. We're going to look okay. We're going to keep up the appearance. And then afterwards, I'm going to freak out just like my kids will. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. There's no specific things that I can think of. It's just, you do what you have to. You know that something unexpected is going to happen. So if you can prepare yourself for whatever that thing is going to be, great. It's just realize that there's some sort of way that you can freak out in private at home or something like that, or appear to be calm. I don't know. Yeah, you probably have a better answer than that.
Oh, I have 4 answers.
She's got 4 answers, so it's better.
I had to think about this really hard. So, let's see. Answer number 1 for me is one of the things that really helps us is we tend to freak out at different things and at different times. So if James is really, really stressed, it tends to just calm me down. And it's the same usually when I'm freaking out, James is calm, and it really helps to always have one person that's calm. And sometimes I make him freak out just so I can stay calm. It's really helpful.
That's smart.
Like traffic, he's awful.
I know, I'm
Stress is so bad. And I'm always like, oh, it's just a car cutting us off. What's wrong? Yep, just like that. Yeah. Let's see. So my second answer to that question would be kind of similar to what James was saying. When we leave the house, we're always kind of expecting the worst. We know there's a lot of things that can happen with our kids when we leave home, when we get off of routine, when we do these things. So we kind of go planning and expecting for the worst. So when things happen, most of the time it's actually better than what we were planning or expecting. But it's just not a surprise. So it's a lot easier to stay calm when we know it's a possibility that that's going to happen. Let's see. I can't remember my third one.
I don't know what your third one is. I can't remember.
Oh, hold on.
Do you know what your fourth one was?
I don't know, but I'll go to my fourth one.
Yeah.
So my fourth one, okay, this is exciting. This one is called my Kristen Bell theory. Yeah. So, if you have never seen the video of Kristen Bell, she is an actress. Once she had a sloth brought to her house for a birthday party.
That's a really good one.
And she wigged out. She cried hysterically. And it's one of the best videos ever because I would do the same thing. But she went on Ellen and did an interview about why she cried so hard. And in this she talked about emotions being on a level from 1 to 10. And that if she is anywhere below a 3, so if she's sad or angry or anything that's below a 3, she's crying. Or if she's really happy, things are good, 7 or above, she's crying. And that's me, to a T. If I am really sad, I'm going to cry. Even more on the high end. If really for me it's like a 6 and above. If things are going good, or if I see something tender or cute or happy or sweet, I'm going to cry. Oh, Jameson's beeping. You go grab him.
He's run out of his food.
So, I cry. Because of that in my life, I have tended to stay in between the 4 and 6 range. I tend to just always try to stay at a level. I don't even try, it's just kind of natural now, because if not, I'm crying. And once I start crying, I cry for about 5 days straight. I can't get myself to stop. So I can watch a cute little video about a little kid saying something nice to his grandma on Facebook, and I'll cry for like 5 days. It's not good. But because of that, it's really natural for me to stay in a more calm zone. And James coming back so he can jump in at any point about whether that's true or not.
It's so true.
But that's really, really helpful. So for me, it's my Kristen Bell theory. When I'm out, especially, I am always in that level. And the times that I allow myself to film my 7 through 10 or my 3 and below is when I'm at home. And
Hi, Kristen. We understand you. We totally get it.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's kind of how we stay calm.
Yeah, we're going to figure out your number 3. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember my number 3
told me,
either.
so I feel bad.
But apparently it's not that important, so... Yeah. So those are the answers to your burning questions. I'm sure you were so thrilled to hear the answers.
3 months later?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, so let us know if you have any other questions, and you all have a wonderful day. Bye!
Bye.